Good morning, everybody. My name is Firefighter Luke. I'd like to welcome you guys to Fire Station 34. Thank you for joining us. The reason we're doing this is we know a lot of you are stuck at home and are staying healthy, following the orders of shelter in place. And the reason we're doing this is to be able to give you a virtual tour of our fire engines, our fire equipment, and make it a little easier for those of you that are staying at home by coming out here. So before we get started, welcome back. If you've seen any of our other tours, today specifically we're going to talk about wildland firefighting, and I'm going to explain what that means in just a little bit. A couple of little ground rules, if you will. This is a working fire station. I'm a real firefighter. There's real fire engines behind me, and there's always the possibility that we could get a call for an emergency. If that's the case, we're going to get dressed. You might see us drive away and the feed will cut off. We'll restart the feed at a later time, or at least let you know through our stories. With that, we apologize for the delay this morning, but thank you for tuning in with us an hour later. Let me check my little cheat sheet here, make sure I didn't forget anything else. All right, so let's get started. So today, I'm wearing a different uniform, or specifically different gear. This gear is something that we use for wildland firefighting. So let's start out with some of the things we covered in the other video. So firefighters, remember, our goal is to help people, right? It comes in all sorts of different emergencies, and our profession is to help people regardless of what emergency they have. So the emergencies we're going to discuss today are these wildland emergencies. Wildland, what that means is really any kind of fire that happens in a grassy area or a forest. That's usually what defines wildlands. It's not a house that's on fire, it's some kind of landscaping or scenery that's on fire, okay? So you're gonna hear me mention the term wildland a couple of times, and that's what I mean. And that can, again, be forests or grass or all sorts of different area that have different topography. So with that, behind me, you'll see some of the equipment that we have. Now, an introduction here, we're staying safe and healthy. Here's Ryan. He's going to be helping me out today, making sure we film everything correctly. Ryan's wearing a mask and staying 6 feet away. We're using a selfie stick for that. So here today, you can see the two type of apparatus that we're going to show. These are called Wildland apparatus, and what makes them unique is that they have a lot of different capabilities. They have off-road capabilities so that we can access the fire that might be on a hill, or help somebody if they've fallen or need some kind of medical assistance on a dirt trail or some kind of trail that requires four-wheel drive. So with that, I'm gonna pass this to Ryan, and we're gonna get started here. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at, we are getting a sneak peek of our latest apparatus that we're getting here in the district. This is a apparatus that's going to be available this year. This is new to us. And what this apparatus does is it does a lot of similar things as our larger Type 3. However, this has some unique specialties that it allows us to get to certain areas that some of the other ones can't. So we have different apparatus depending on whatever the emergency might be. So that's how we kind of solve all different problems, by having different equipment for different type of emergencies. So we're gonna start out with what we call the front bumper. This is a fire engine that's designed for fighting fire. So right here, you might be able to see we have a fire hose. And believe it or not, something unique that we do as firefighters is we're able to be driving and putting fire at the same time. I'll show that a little later, where a firefighter will have a hose, will be walking, and the fire engine will follow and will put out fire at the same time, okay? So we have our hose in the front. A lot of times we'll fight fires for the wildland setting that go through the entire night. And for that, we need lighting. So you guys might be able to see that I have a light here on my helmet. Let me see if I can turn it on. Ryan, you tell me if it's turning on or not. It's on? All right. So we have special lights on our helmets. We have special lights on the front of the apparatus, lights up top, lights all over the place, so we can light up the scene to be sure we're safe and we know what we're doing, and we can put out the emergency no matter what time of day it is. We have a winch here that gets us out of situations. So sometimes there might be a lot of mud or difficult terrain to climb. So we have a winch there that allows us to move the fire engine in specific ways or get out of tight situations so we can continue to fight fire or continue making access to help whoever needs our help. So let's come around. We'll see the inside here in a minute, but let's go to the back. As you can see, the off-road capabilities is what make this rig unique. Big tires, high off the ground, so we have a lot of ground clearance in order to get to the hard to reach places where somebody might be or where the fire might be going. Okay. In the back, we have our pump. We've talked about that on previous live tours where we talked. This is typically the job of the engineer. I'm considered an engineer for our district, and so it's my responsibility to come here and make the adjustments to make sure the firefighters have the proper amount of water coming out. And there's water tank, there's foam, there's a hose back here. It's a lot of different equipment. Ryan, why don't you, do you mind jumping in the inside? We'll give a little tour of what the inside looks like. All right, so as you can see here, there's a lot of different and unique things that we have in here. First of all, you see we have a backup camera, a fairly large backup camera. We have gauges that indicate what level the fire engine is at. So we have some limitations as to how much we can move the fire engine when we're climbing. And again, this would be something like if we're going up a very steep hill, we're going on the dirt or the mountains. Closest mountain around here would be Mount Diablo. So that type of thing. If we're moving on those difficult terrains, we have some limits as engineers as to what the apparatus can do. We also see our tire pressure, tire temperature. Here's where we control our lights and our siren. And then remember the pump that we have in the back? As an engineer, I can make some setting changes right here without having to get out. We have our radios for communicating with other firefighters. And here's where we would have a computer that the captain would be able to use to navigate us through the right trail, through the right roads, to make sure we get to wherever we need to be. So let's jump over and take a look at the next rig called the Type 3. You guys can see the Type 3 is also a wildland firefighting apparatus. It has a lot of different equipment, just like all the other engines we've shown you. So let's go ahead and get started. So you see the red lights. That again is asking for our public to move out of our way, especially when you hear that siren. We're asking the people and the public to move out of our way so we can get to an emergency a little quicker. Coming off to the side, we also have medical equipment. Like I mentioned before, we always help people regardless of what the emergency might be. So we have medical equipment with really large band-aids and medicine and all sorts of different things to help people depending on what type of issue they have. And then coming through the back, when we're talking about wildland fires, these are fires that are sometimes very remote, and there might not be a fire hydrant that we can attach to get water. So in order to do that, sometimes we need to get a little creative as to where we're going to find water. So we have unique tools to be able to get water out of remote places. So this right here, a float pump is what we call it. It's a funny term, but what it does is this floats on top of a body of water, and we attach hoses to it, and then the hose goes into the fire engine, and that allows us to get water, whether it's from a creek, a lake, or even a swimming pool. If there's not a fire hydrant that's close by and we need water, we can use different tools to get water out of different sources. So that's pretty cool. In in the back, you can see we have a lot of different hoses. We have larger hoses to hooking up to fire hydrants or other fire engines. We have hoses for fighting fire really far away from the fire engine, because although we have four-wheel drive capabilities and these fire engines can climb where a lot of cars and other fire engines can't, sometimes it gets to a point where it's not safe or we can't drive any further. So then the fire engine will stay in one spot, and then we'll unload a lot of hose and start fighting fire and adding pieces of hose to continue fighting that fire. What I mean by that, let me show you. In this compartment, you'll see it looks like we have backpacks. I'm sure some of you wear backpacks to school. Well, we as firefighters have backpacks as well, but ours are a little different. So you see me put on this backpack. It's a little different. As you can see, it actually has hose behind it. And if I pull right here, this releases 100 feet of hose. 100 feet, that's a really far distance for us to continue fighting fire. So these special backpacks have special tabs, and when I pull on them, the hose comes out. So the way it works is myself, my captain, the firefighter will have backpacks on. We'll start fighting fire with a hose. We run out of hose, and in a sense, we're adding an extension. So we pull, 100 feet drop on the ground, we disconnect it, and then we attach it and extend on. It's almost like a garden hose that we can keep extending and keep adding lengths to. So that's pretty cool, and that's a unique capability. And sometimes it can go really far. We can go 1,000, 2,000 feet that we're extending to keep fighting that fire, to put it out in hopes that it doesn't get anywhere else. Okay, because we have to do when we're fighting wildland fires, we're trying to protect people's houses, we're trying to protect the environment. We don't want our hills to necessarily be all burnt up, so we're trying to do a lot of things and save people, save our environment, save our property. So that's what we use the backpacks for. Pretty unique. Let's go over here and we'll show you. Let me turn off the lights real quick, and I'm going to show you some of the gear that we wear. Turn this. All right. So before we talked about the structural gear, the gear that firefighters wear when we go inside of a house and we go fight a fire at someone's house. So this is the gear that we would wear fighting wildland fires. So it's a slightly different jacket, a little thinner. It still protects us, but it's a little thinner because we might be in these clothes for many days at a time. These are special pants that are designed for this type of environment, special boots. And then the helmet looks a little different than what I wore last week or the week prior. So the helmet has unique things that allow me to protect my face and protect my the rest of my body from getting burned or getting any kind of smoke on me. So I'm going to show you some of those things. I'm going to put them on and show you this. So we have this unique pack right here that we wear. It's almost like another backpack. And what this does is it gives us some tools that we need when fighting fire. So as you can see right here, this looks like pliers, huh? But this is actually a hose clamp. So we would take the hose when it's full of water, put it in here and squeeze it. In a sense, it's similar to when you bend a hose, a garden hose. We're trying to stop the water from coming out. So then we can quickly attach the next length and then we open it. It's almost like a faucet that we can take with us. We can close it so we don't have any water coming out. Then we can open it to let water come out and we continue fighting fire. So pretty important tool for firefighters to have. And then in the back, I also have a compartment where I keep extra adapters and other hose. We have water in case we're out for many days or many hours. I can get a sip of water. And then we have something called a fire shelter. This is something that protects us as firefighters. It's a tool that we can use if we get in a situation that we're in danger and we're we're in a position where we might get hurt, we can open this up. It's like a little tent, and it protects us as firefighters in case we're ever in that situation. But we try not to use it, so we have it there just in case. All right. The next thing is we already discussed in the past the pump panel, right? So this is similar to the other engines that we've shown you, where it has a lot of levers, and these are almost like faucets that I would open up and close to make sure the firefighters fighting fire have the right amount of water. And then let's go ahead and go inside of this one. Ryan, do you mind going on the other side? And then I will show a couple things. All right, sorry, this might be in your way. So this, like other fire engines, we have headsets that protect our hearing. Oh boy, this might be for Ryan. Sorry for the beeping. So I'm gonna show you right here, I have other controls that I can start the similar things to what I'm doing on the outside. I can start it from the inside, so that if we are moving and driving forward as we're fighting fire, I can make those adjustments here. So with this wheel, I can adjust the pressure coming out of the hoses, and I can also change the modes and add certain things to the water to make sure that we're really putting the fire out, and I am responsible for making sure that the other firefighters are safe and they again have the right amount of water to put the fire out. So it's gonna get let's go to the front. I'm gonna show you one of the hoses we use, and then we're gonna actually turn the fire engine on and show you what that looks like when we're spraying a little bit of water. Okay. So coming to the front, when we get ready to go to a fire, we'll arrive there with the fire engine. And in this little compartment, check this out. This is pretty cool. It's like almost like it's hidden. Inside, there's hose that can come out so we can start fighting fire right away. Again, when people have these type of emergencies, a lot of times they need us to be ready right away. So what we do is we grab our hose and we pull it out. And this one, it's a shorter hose. It's 25 feet long. And the reason it's shorter, it's because it's meant for me to put out fire and the fire engine follows me. We call that a mobile attack. We're mobiling, in a sense, we're moving, we're very mobile, and we're putting out fire as the fire engine and myself are moving. We're not staying in one spot because the fire can be moving very fast. So 25-foot section of hose, and then a special nozzle. Okay, we have different ones. We talked about that one over there being a smooth bore. This is a different one, okay, a fog nozzle. And I'm gonna show you what this looks like, okay? So it might be a little bit loud because I'm gonna turn on the fire engine so we can get a little bit of water, but we're gonna spray a little water, and I'm gonna show you some of the things that this hose does and this nozzle does. Okay, so I apologize. I know that's probably a little bit loud, so we're going to move off to the side if we can. Grab my hose. Let's come over here. Maybe this will be a little quieter. So now there's water inside the hose, and what I can do is I can pull this back. We call this a bail, and by pulling this back, water starts coming out. Okay, so let me show you. Now I can make it what we call a fog, or it's a wide pattern, or I can make it go far. You can see my hand right here. Just by spinning that, I can change where I'm spraying water. Now, as firefighters fighting wildland fires, again, those are grass fires or forest fires, we have to conserve the amount of water we use. We don't want to use too much water because we would run out very quickly. At the same time, we want to make sure we use enough water to put the fire out. So it's the art of a firefighter to figure out how much water to use to properly put out the fire, but not use too much so that we can continue moving forward. Let's spray a little bit more water. Okay? And actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish putting on the gear that I would normally wear. So I have gloves. I have a special mask. And remember we talked about before that I'm Firefighter Luke. As firefighters, all firefighters, we're your friend. And we want you guys to be able to see what we look like. Sometimes we look a little different. We wear funny outfits, but we're still the firefighters that you know and trust, and we're your friends. And once you meet a firefighter, you're friends for life. So I want to show you what this looks like, so if we ever meet in a circumstance where I'm wearing this, you're not going to think I'm looking scary, okay? So I'm going to take my helmet off. Very good, Ryan?
Yeah, that's great.
So I'm going to put on this is a special mask for wildland firefighters. So a collar, put this special mask on. All right. My helmet has special shroud, is what we call, to protect me. So I'm going to put this on. So it protects my face, and then I have goggles that can protect my eyes too. Last thing I need are my gloves. All right, now let's spray some water. Now let's spray a little bit more. Watch this. I'm going to take this off so you guys can hear me. So right there, that last bit, we really wouldn't be spraying that much water when we're doing a mobile attack. Again, mobile attack means that we're driving with a fire engine and we're putting out fire as we walk. And because we only have so much water in our fire engine and we're not connected to a fire hydrant, we really try to limit the amount of water we would use. But for the demonstration, I wanted to show you guys that we sometimes can spray quite a bit of water out of those fire hoses. Okay, we'll put this back. All right. Put this over here. All right. Sorry, I know that was probably a little bit loud, a little bit noisy, but I wanted to show you guys what that looked like when we're spraying water. So as an engineer, it's my responsibility to make sure that when I'm driving the fire engine and the firefighter in the front is spraying water, I have to keep an eye on them to make sure they're safe and I'm not gonna accidentally run over their hose or get too close to them. So it's a really coordinated effort to make sure we do it properly. The person driving, the engineer, the firefighter, and the captain all have to be on the same page in order to be successful and to be able to do it quickly so that we can put out the most amount of fire in the shortest amount of time. Okay, let me can I grab this for a second, Ryan? Thank you. All right, so the last thing we're going to do is we're going to show you kind of an overview again of every single one, what they look like. We thank you for your patience in starting this a little bit later, but we really thank you for your support, everything you've been doing for us. We're trying to support our community by doing these videos. We hope you like them. If you do like them, please send us a message and give us some feedback. If there's something you'd like to see, or if you just like it, or if you don't like it, that's okay too. Just let us know how we're doing so we know what to do in the future. And again, thank you guys very much for joining us. Remember, as firefighters, we're here for you. We are here to keep you safe, and we're here for you regardless what time you need us. We're always here, and we hope you guys stay safe. So let's go ahead and show this. So a question, and not doing too many questions, but I saw this one, so I apologize for not answering all your questions. But the masks that we wear, no, we're not wearing any oxygen or any special tanks when we're fighting wildland fires. We use filters in that mask to protect us, but we are not wearing oxygen or special bottles just because of the amount of time that it takes to put out some of these fires. So again, this was a sneak peek as to our latest apparatus that's going to be coming out this summer. And this one is the Type 3 that we've had for a few years, and also a wildland firefighting apparatus. All right. That's it. If you guys have any specific questions, comments, feedback, we welcome that. Thank you again very much for joining us. Thank you for staying safe. We know it's difficult to stay at home, but we thank you for that. You're keeping us, the community, everybody, and yourselves safe. From all of us here at San Valley Fire, thank you very much, and we're always here for you. Bye-bye.